Um, Today, I just wanted to talk to you about slap playing because I've had some questions regarding it. I had some students just asking about what is the most important thing in slap playing. In terms of taking a solo, what should I consider? What's your advice? And I think the most important thing is if you listen to other guys that take slap solos, if you listen to like Larry Graham, if you listen to Victor Wooten, if you listen to Marcus Miller, those guys, one thing that they always try to do, admittedly sometimes I've heard it when they don't succeed as well sometimes, but very rarely. Most of the time they stick to a groove. They return to a pattern, right? That is the key. It's to stay in time. Keep the audience engaged by having something that they can latch onto and add the flashy stuff in between. So an example of that would be like to perhaps just take a simple pentatonic Okay, now I did a bunch of technical stuff in there, but it didn't lose its groove. Why? Well, at least in my opinion, it didn't lose its groove. Why was that? Because I kept going back to this riff. Right? So if you do that, you can do anything at all in between. That is the beauty of it. So you want to think of yourself like, I try to think of playing slap bass like you are a percussionist and a bass player at the same time. And what you want to do is try to orchestrate your solo so that it's more like percussion fills, rather than trying to be a guitarist. There are many bass players who try to be a guitarist, you know. And we are more than just that. We're different. The guitar can play a percussive role too, but the bass is much more adept to that. So from a practice point of view, for guys who are maybe intermediate level of slap playing, I would say if you're an intermediate level of slap playing, one thing you could do is put on a drum machine and just get a groove going. And I would just focus on one area. So let's just focus between 4th and 7th fret on the A and G string, and use the open E as our hook, as our anchor, so to speak. And what I would do is focus on maybe in an intermediate level you might be getting into hammer-ons and stuff like that, and pulos. So what you could do is something like I did just there, which was to play an 8th note hammer-on fill, and then a 16th note. And then, I mean, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I've been practicing over the years, which is, you know, comes to me now naturally without thinking. But those things don't come without practice. So, but I mean, even at an intermediate level, you can take a nice slap solo. You know, you don't have to play fast and flashy. Just keep it in the pocket. Keep that groove happening, and your audience is going to like it, right? Because that's what it's about. You're a bass player. Groove. That's the key, I think. That's just my opinion. You know, all the other fancy stuff can come later. You know, you don't have to play like that to be a good bass player. It's got nothing to do with being a good bass player. Groove is where it's at. You can do anything. I just did something which is just really silly. I mean, it's just absolutely stupid. But because I go back to a groove, it doesn't matter. It can sound. You know, you can do all that kind of noodly stuff and get away with it. So that's it. That's basically my advice to you. Like I said, do an exercise. I've tapped that one out actually. So that you can see how those 16th, the 8th note and 16th note fills fit in there. So check that one out. That's at my website, and that's my suggestion. Just have fun practicing that, and just you know, as long as you stick to the groove, you can put in stuff you've been practicing in between. And it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. That's the other thing as well, because you go back to the groove, it sounds intentional. Like, listen to this. I'm just playing stupid stuff. Anyway, you get the idea. So have fun with that, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Again, I'm going to be putting those tabs up at my website. If you want them, subscribe, and you will get your password and access to the member area where there are, I don't know how many other tabs there are there now and other lessons with tablature, but probably getting over about 60 or 70 now. So go for it, dig in, have fun, and see you again.